Excited for you guys who found us every Monday night. This is what we do. We hang out here with you guys to answer questions about international dating, international relationships, cross-cultural dating and marriage, if you will, anything at all that relates to how to meet these incredibly beautiful women from the 8 countries that we conduct our world-famous singles tours in, countries like China, Ukraine, the Philippines, Colombia, Peru, Thailand, and others. So you guys can ask your questions tonight. That's really why we're here. I mean, I'll offer a topic and you can ask some questions around that if you like. But if you're here watching the live webcast, there's an excellent chance that you've got questions about international dating, and we definitely have answers. I have been working with a foreign affair in one capacity or another for about 17 years. We are now entering in, I think, our 23rd, 24th. Shucks, I think we might be hitting our 25th year very shortly. That's amazing. Honestly, 25 years of introducing international couples to each other. That's awesome. That really is. So if you have questions about anything at all that happens in that process of meeting these beautiful women, ask it by clicking the green box that's right above me, right? See the green box right above me? Okay. Click the box and send your questions to me. I will see your question on my admin panel throughout the call. I'll be very happy to answer some of your questions. We'll talk about a few things that are coming up, and then we'll answer a few of your questions preliminarily, and then we're going to jump into our topic du jour, which is fabulous. I promise. All right. All right, so guys, we just did 2 seminars in Chicago and Milwaukee. That was completely awesome. It was opening day of the NFL, but we were undeterred. And we went to 2 incredibly big football towns. Fortunately, the Bears-Packer game was last night, so I got to squeeze in my seminar, and everybody got to go home and make it in time for the game. But thanks to all of you who came out. Our next 2 seminars I will be conducting 1 week from this Saturday. And they're going to be in Austin, Texas, and San Antonio, Texas. Going to Texas. Man, have they got some good food in Texas. Oh my Lord, I can't wait for that. Whew. Austin, Texas, Saturday, September 22nd. San Antonio, September 23rd. 11 to 3 on both of those. If you're at loveme.com, you can scroll down to where it shows you our schedule of upcoming free international dating seminars, and you'll see those top 2 Austin, San Antonio, Texas seminars listed there, 22nd and 23rd of this month, Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 3. And the venues, the hotels, there's a La Quinta Inn, there's a Holiday Inn. Check it out, guys. Right now, I need you to RSVP to make sure that we have enough room for everybody. We definitely do, but I don't want anybody standing in the back or somewhere uncomfortable because we didn't have enough chairs with the proper setup. So you got to write to me, bud@loveme.com, bud like buddy, B-U-D, @loveme.com, and just say, hey, I want to come to your seminar, and I'll save you a spot, save you some refreshments, make sure there's plenty of coffee and whatever else we're going to be indulging in, all right? Can you do that for me, guys, please? And I look forward to seeing you. Now in October, John Adams, his lovely wife Tanya, they're going to be in Boston, they're going to be in Montreal, Canada. So October 13th and October 14th, we've got Boston and Montreal on deck. Again, 11 to 3, Saturday and Sunday, 2 great international dating seminars. You know what? John and I do very different seminars. Somehow we both get around to giving you the most important information. I think I have more of a bigger picture approach. John is very specific to what we do and how our programs help people meet each other. And I think that's really interesting and really cool. But anyway, John and Tiny have a very impactful seminar. The last time I saw John give a seminar was here in Phoenix a few months ago. I told him I was really proud of him, and that was the truth. I was quite humbled by somebody who can do what he's been doing for as long as he's been doing it and still be as passionate as he is about it. So guys, if you're in Boston or Montreal on October 13th or 14th, come on, get off your butt, get out and come to the seminar. Yeah, I'm sitting in Chicago with a certain number of guys at my seminar. I've got literally thousands of guys in the Chicago, Milwaukee metro area sitting at home on loveme.com. Now, thousands of guys are probably not going to come to a seminar, but the point is there are plenty of guys sitting at home writing letters on loveme.com looking at the seminar which is being offered for free just down the road, and they don't come to it. And that's so interesting because guys are stuck in that virtual relationship comfort zone, that electronic relationship comfort zone. It's a counterfeit pleasure to be there, guys. I want to snap you out of it and take you out into reality and let you meet somebody who's lovely and real and wonderful and just right for you. Phoenix, Arizona, October 27th, we'll have another great seminar here at our Phoenix office, our Phoenix headquarters. And again, we need RSVPs for all those guys. Just write to us and let us know you're coming so we have the proper amount of food, refreshments, and seating for you, all right? Check it out. Great seminars coming up. We also have great opportunities for you to meet the beautiful women that you're watching in our videos tonight. You can meet them in Ukraine later this month. We still have some room on our September 20th tour. And then, of course, we'll be going to Davao early next month, October 4th. We love to go to the Philippines. We love to go to San Jose, Costa Rica, two of our very popular destinations, Davao and Costa Rica. Both will be commencing on October 4th. And Lima, Peru, man. Lima, Peru, let me tell you guys, as I've said many times, Lima, Peru is a great destination. We've only really begun to do Lima, Peru any sense of justice. We've got a great staff, lovely women there. And if you go to Lima, Peru, dude, look at the profiles from Lima. These are some very attractive women. If you want to meet them, I'm telling you right now, go on the tour at the end of October. My brother, it's all yours, man. And then Cartagena, Colombia, great city. I loved my visit to Cartagena, Colombia. It was filled with tourists everywhere, many beautiful women, incredibly friendly. You guys will have an incredibly great time in Cartagena, Colombia, November 1st. All that stuff is readily available for you at loveme.com. Check it out. Guys, you weren't meant to sit there and watch my webcasts forever. I'm really glad that you do. But at some point, you got to get up and go get your girl, right? We're watching videos from recent tours. Looks like we've got some Latin America. Peru, how about that? Ask and you shall receive, right? Here are some of the ladies that you can meet in Peru, some of our staff, a little bit of social footage, some of our clients. How about it? Anyway, you can meet some of the ladies in Peru. If you go to Latin American tours, you can meet the ladies in Costa Rica. You can meet them in Cartagena, Colombia, all coming up next month. You can also go to Davao in the Philippines and meet some lovely ladies there. Okay, I'm going to answer a few questions for you tonight. You can click the green box that's right above me. Those of you who watch me internationally, I'm especially thankful for you, but you knew that. And so, let's get a few of your initial questions in, and then we're going to talk about what is really wrong with Ukrainian men. What's really wrong with Ukrainian men? We hear a lot of stuff about Ukrainian men, right? We're watching videos of men, our clients, meeting Ukrainian women, and we hear a lot of things about Ukrainian men. What's the truth? What's really wrong with Ukrainian men? And why are so many Ukrainian women trying to meet us? We're going to talk specifically about that, and I seriously doubt you've heard the information I'm going to give you around that, and it's rock solid truth you can take to the ATM. Here we go. A few questions, guys, and then we'll jump into that topic. Sean is asking, can I exchange personal information to the lady I am corresponding with using the phone translation service? Great question. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, Sean, write to afa@loveme.com. Her name is Liz. She's amazing. She's our great customer service manager and more. And she can certainly tell you how you can exchange personal contact information with any of the women on our site. I'll be honest with you guys, it's not particularly easy to do that, although there are forms that need to be signed and fees that need to be paid, and then you can probably do it. But you can certainly inquire, and we'll do our very best to help you do that. David from Los Angeles was in a club tour in Odessa. It was great. Now I want to go to China on either the romance tour or an individual club travel package. I see the city of Chongqing is included on the club tour, but not on the romance tour. Why? You know, so David, you know, we have an affiliate agency in Chongqing. They're a great group of people. They can definitely host you. We don't have a lot of guys going to Chongqing. It's a big, beautiful, modern city. Most guys just choose to go to Shenzhen. If you want to go to Chongqing, you should absolutely go to Chongqing. Our staff will host you. You'll meet a lot of great women. It's all yours. Very big, modern city, filled with tourists. Just go, my friend. You know, we're not trying to cover the whole entire world, guys. Honestly, the reason we don't do tours in Chongqing is the reason we don't do tours in the Czech Republic, and we don't do tours in Japan, and we don't do tours in Vietnam. We just haven't gotten there yet. 8 countries is a lot. But don't let that stop you, man. We do have a great office in Chongqing, and you definitely should go there. So call us up if I can give you additional information around that, Dave, okay? Tom came to my conference in Chicago. Tom, I remember you extraordinary guy, and I was very happy to meet you. Just wanted to thank you for your time. Tom, thanks for coming out to my seminar. I appreciate that very much. Right on, brother. I tell you what, I meet some incredibly fine men at my seminars. It makes me very proud to do what I do. My friend is asking about the 14th of October seminar in Montreal. Where and date hours? It's going to be 11 to 3 on a Sunday in Montreal. The hotel will be posted very, very shortly. If you'd like to attend, just write to us, bud@loveme.com, and we'll make sure you get the hotel information shortly. Be a conference room in a hotel in Montreal. We'll definitely have that set up for you, my friend. But the date and the time are cast in stone. On October 14th, Sunday, we're going to be in Montreal doing a seminar from 11 to 3. So write to bud@loveme.com to get the venue for that, to make your RSVP. All right, guys, we are answering some of your preliminary questions that you are asking by clicking the green box above me, and then I'm going to get to an interesting topic that comes up from time to time at our seminars, which is, what's really wrong with Ukrainian men? Why are Ukrainian women trying so hard to meet men outside of their country? We've heard stories. What's the truth? I'm going to give you the truth in just a little bit. Steve says, I'm wondering about the ladies listed on your website. If I'm writing to a lady and I want to take the discussion private, and she came to be listed on your website via one of your affiliate offices, does she go to her local affiliate office to sign the IMBRA form, and then personal information can be exchanged? So I'll tell you what, Steve, exchanging personal information with women on our site is a difficult thing before you've met them. The best way to exchange personal information with women on our site is to go and meet them face to face. However, you can write to lizafa@loveme.com. So the email address is afa@loveme.com, and say, Liz, I'm writing to this girl. I'd like to inquire about exchanging personal contact information, and she can definitely address that for you. But I'll tell you what, guys, everybody wants to write to women. Right? I mean, it takes a lot to bring the women here. The affiliate agencies are out there pounding the pavement, overcoming objections. I've said this many times, and it's true, and it sounds bitter and sarcastic, but I'm telling you right now, it is 100% true. In the last 23 years of men traveling to Ukraine to meet women, for every one nice guy that has gone to Ukraine, 10 completely awful, stupid men have gone to Ukraine. And the women are very, very aware of this. The nice guys who go to Ukraine do really, really well. Unfortunately, there are too many men who believe that these are poor and desperate women living in mud huts, and they're easy to take advantage of. None of which is true, but a lot of guys go to Ukraine determined that that is the case. They behave badly, and they make it a little more difficult for the rest of you. The good news is the good women are still there, and they do want to meet you. The challenge is that now agencies represent them, promise to screen out the knuckleheads, promise to help them meet only the right men, the good men, the healthy-minded men. We talk a lot about what it takes to be successful in international dating, right, in Ukraine and other countries. You've got to be a good guy with good old-fashioned family values and a healthy respect for women and relationships. You've got to be ready to go and meet somebody. Women who work 12, 14, 16-hour days, day after day after day, week after week and month after month, are not into a pen pal relationship. They're going to want something concrete to come of their correspondence. They're going to want to meet you. They're going to want you to come into their life for real. They don't want a virtual guy. They want a real guy that they can lean on. They want you, very much so, but you've got to get on the plane to go and make that happen. So all of that means that the agencies are coordinating your communication, helping the women to find you, the right guy for them, and the agencies are like real estate brokers with houses to sell, and they got to get paid, and they get paid by helping people meet each other. And it's hard to go off the grid once you send a couple of letters, and a lot of guys are not happy with that. The frank answer to that question is many, 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 many men, virtually all men using international dating services, want to go off the grid and contact the women directly. None of them are setting up agencies where you can give a woman's personal contact details away after a couple of letters, because it's just not cost effective to do that. The good news is the women are real, and you can meet them, and that's what you should do. Hey, let me get my coffee. Thank you so much. Did you see that? That's my assistant, Michelle. She brought me a cup of coffee. Why? Why? She brought me coffee for your protection. All right, here we go. I owe Michelle about 10 cups of coffee, by the way. Thank you, Michelle. All right, guys, if you work with us and you go on our tours, you will be lucky enough to talk to Michelle, who's amazing. She does the work of 10 people, and she's incredible. All right, so guys, look. We obviously want you to get in front of the women. Ultimately, that's why I'm out here doing what I do. How many other people are doing what I do out here in front of you, right? I want you to go on the tours. I want you to meet the women. That absolutely is the end game. Everybody else doing what I do, they want you to sit at home and write letters into oblivion, never going anywhere. But you got to work with me, right? get on the plane and go and meet these women. I'll show you all kinds of video. You'll see it. Just keep watching tonight of men and women meeting each other and exchanging right there. There's a snap right there. My friend Mike exchanging personal contact information with a girl he met at a social. It's very easily done. You just got to go meet the women. You can have all the contact information you want. But if you have a question around that, how do I get contact information for these women? Write to us. Just, write to our great customer service manager. Her name is Liz. She also does the work of 10 people, by the way. afa@loveme.com. Hey Liz, how do I get in touch with these women directly? All right. Thomas says, do men have to show their faces in these videos? If I went, I wouldn't want to show my face. Thomas, I wouldn't want to show your face either. But here's why, because I respect your privacy. Now here's the thing. What's interesting about the videos that you're watching is that many men would prefer not to be seen on the video for privacy reasons, and that's fine. So when we can show you some video, we're usually showing you a small number of the overall group of guys, because that is the small number of men who would let us actually film their video. So we completely respect that. We get a lot of video that doesn't show your face at all, so you don't have to be worried about that. You just let us know if that's your preference. And what we'll do is we'll put a little dot on your name tag. The camera guy knows to look for it. When he sees it, he will not film you. So no worries, Thomas, all right? All right, guys. Al says, thanks. I'm going to Ukraine in a few weeks alone. Will I be allowed to be picked up at the airport by my lady? Sure, I would imagine so. Al, what you need to do is ask the lady if she's going to meet you at the airport. Just contact us to make sure that, this is a dating agency. You've got thousands and thousands of people involved. We just want to make sure that there aren't going to be any surprises when you get to Ukraine and nobody's there to pick you up. So just to help make sure everything is cool and smooth, why don't you write to us? You can write to me if you want, Al, and I'll forward it to the proper people. bud@loveme.com, and we'll make sure that you and your girl can meet each other at the airport one way or another. All right, cool. Great questions, guys. Now what I'm going to do is go to a topic here in a moment, one or two more questions. You keep asking your questions and I'll come back to them after the topic, all right? Green box right above me. Text me your questions. Be happy to answer them for you. Lance, I love your question, man. I met Lance on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure coffee drinks Lance to stay awake. I just want to say. Lance, you're going to have a great tour. You know that. What's the average age of women at your events? Says Arthur. You know what, Arthur? It's all over the map, my friend, because most of the men who come on our tours are going to be anywhere between 28, let's say, and 68, and there are some that are older once in a while, some that are younger, but most of the guys on our tours are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And they're going to meet women who are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, for the most part. And again, there may be a few that are older. Once in a while, we meet a 50-something girl at one of our social events, and she's incredibly lovely, and I don't think we have very many women younger than 20 that come to our social events. I hope not. But anyway, it's all over the map, my friend. Usually the room is divided. Half of the room is under 30, half of the room is over 30, and everybody's happy. It just kind of works out that way. Okay. Great questions, guys. Thanks for lining them up. I don't dodge any questions, guys. You may not like the answers that I give you sometimes. It's tough love, but it is love. And it is reality. It's not marketing fluff. So there we go. Wait, did I just see? Okay. Jake says, hey, I was thinking of doing a Chernobyl tour before Kiev group tour. We would prefer you do the Chernobyl tour after the group tour so you don't irradiate anybody. Before the Kiev group tour, by arriving a day early, would your office be able to help put this together? Jake, I'll tell you what, if my office helps you put the Chernobyl tour together, I'll be very, very upset with them. Dude, don't do that. You're crazy. Ukrainians will do anything to make money, including give you a tour of a place that's going to be irradiated for the next 900 years. You're on your own there, my friend, and I wish you the best. But we're really glad if you'll be on the tour. All right, anyway. Having some fun with my brothers. Here we go, guys. All right. What's really wrong with Ukrainian men? Let's talk about it. What's wrong with Ukrainian men? Haven't you heard a lot about Ukrainian men? You hear a lot of silly stuff, which we'll talk about. What's really up with Ukrainian men? Why do we have 14,000, which is it's a drop in the bucket, guys, believe me. Why do we have 14,000 profiles of women currently at loveme.com from Ukraine? What's going on in Ukraine? A lot's going on in Ukraine. That's why it is our largest market. Having said that, the Philippines and China, places like Costa Rica, definitely giving the Ukraine a run for its money. But we hear a lot of stuff about Ukrainian men. What's interesting is if you go to Ukraine and you meet the lovely women like the ones in our video and you say, hey, I hear such and such about Ukrainian men, I hear this, I hear that, the Ukrainian women are likely to correct your perspective very politely and very respectfully. They'll say, hey, you know what, wait a minute. It's not exactly what you've heard. There's a little more to it. And they'll share with you a perspective that's quite interesting. Now I'm going to tell you right now, as I get into this, right now I'm going to tell you, there are many, many, many fine Ukrainian men. Men that I admire, men that I love to hang out with, men that I consider friends, and men I feel incredibly privileged to know. I have friends in Ukraine who are men. I know fathers, I know husbands. There are great Ukrainian men. I've made my point, right? There are, trust me, many more great men than there are not so great men, but there are serious issues that men in Ukraine deal with. Now, if you want to understand Ukrainian women, if you're going to go to Ukraine, you don't want to go to Ukraine without really understanding the culture, a lot of which you're going to learn when you're in Ukraine, and that's part of the fun and the magic of what we're doing. But you do want to understand, to some extent, what's going on in Ukraine. You know, why are there so many women who are here? Number one, I've said this many times, it's not the central theme tonight, but there are about 4 million more women in Ukraine than there are men. And Ukraine is about the size of the state of Texas. This is easily proven by any number of sources. When guys argue with me about this, I think, man, you got to be kidding me, dude, seriously. But the truth is, there are 4 million more women than men in Ukraine, and that is a huge problem for the women of Ukraine, many of whom are very, very beautiful. There's a huge, huge disparity in the population of men and women in Ukraine. That aside, and it's the result of the tens of millions of men who were killed during World War II and the years following World War II when Ukraine was part of Russia, ruled by Joseph Stalin. All these decades later, you have this deficit of men that cannot be made up. It's 3 times worse in the country of Russia, which is, of course, much, much larger than Ukraine. We're talking about Ukrainian men and Ukrainian culture. If you want to understand Ukrainian women, you've got to take the time to understand what's going on with Ukrainian men, because those are the driving forces that bring Ukrainian women to us, the things that are impacting their men and their culture, and therefore Ukrainian women. So to understand Ukrainian women, you've got to take the time to understand Ukrainian men. Let's talk about the stereotypes a little bit, okay? The stereotypes are kind of silly. There's definitely truth in some of them. You know, there definitely is a problem in the culture of Ukraine with men drinking too much at times, or smoking too much. What do we hear? We hear that they're not healthy. We hear that they're bad husbands. We hear that they're angry and abusive. We hear those things. Certainly that's true in some cases in Ukraine, but there's much, much more going on with the men of Ukraine than the silly stereotypes that we've heard about them. I'm absolutely sure that people in Ukraine have heard stereotypes about American men as well, but they've heard good information about us, fortunately, and they're happy to meet us and expect to meet us and are excited to meet us. But what do we really know about Ukrainian men? Let's talk about the country of Ukraine. I mentioned to you the population disparity, right? Here's essentially what's going on in Ukraine. In Ukrainian culture, what's really great about Ukraine, really many things that are great about Ukraine, but one really great thing about Ukraine, people in Ukraine can get an excellent university education. It's very affordable, or it's free, depending on how great your grades are. But high-level education, good education, is very, very available to the men and the women of Ukraine. Isn't that great? So people can get chemical engineering degrees. They can get teaching degrees. They can get medical degrees. They can become doctors. They can become engineers. They can get those great, great degrees. The problem is there aren't enough jobs. And the jobs that are there do not pay very, very well. Money that is invested in Ukraine by the powers that be or from outside sources that's supposed to create infrastructure in Ukraine, and therefore create jobs, gets sucked away into bank accounts or in various places. Corruption in Ukraine is very, very high, and therefore jobs are very, very low. So you have men and women who graduate with great degrees, but they find it difficult to either work in their chosen profession or to make money in their chosen profession. So at some point, 22, 23, 24, 26, they're not making great money. They're struggling with the corruption in their country. They can't get ahead. They can't achieve their goals. And years go by with men in Ukraine not succeeding, not being able to create a family, afford a family, buy a flat, buy a car. Of course some can. Of course some have access. And some are lucky and some earn their way to an opportunity. But there are many, many, many men who don't find their way to that opportunity despite great qualifications, great education, great opportunity. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are plenty of people that I've met in Ukraine, certainly a large number of women, and I'm telling you a large number of men, if they came to America and had the kind of opportunity that we had, they would make the most of it. People in Ukraine would work very, very hard if given the opportunity to work hard. So you have a situation in Ukraine where there's a lot of corruption and there isn't a lot of jobs. You have women in Ukraine who are frequently single moms. They raise their children by themselves. There's probably a very dedicated granny in there somewhere, but men in Ukraine will move on from relationships, start a new relationship, and not be supportive in their relationship with their previous child. This is a common part of Ukrainian culture. Again, it's really important to wrap our minds around the fact that there are good Ukrainian men, good Ukrainian dads, good Ukrainian grandfathers, etc., but there is, unfortunately, a significant number of men who move on. They're just not attached to those relationships, and they become detached from their children. Divorce is very easy to get in Ukraine. You can get a divorce in about 2 weeks in Ukraine, and men can move on very easily without any ties to their previous children. So you have a lot of men that are being raised by hardworking moms who are really, in many cases, overworked for very little money. And men don't have men raising them, teaching them how to be tough, teaching them how to be strong. There's a lot that a good, strong Ukrainian mom, believe me, I've seen it in action. There's a lot that a good, strong Ukrainian mom can do for her son. But I'll tell you what, a dad has a special role in the life of a son, teaching a son how to be a man, how to deal, how to cope with adversity when it comes. And many men in Ukraine, some of them are very big, very masculine and very strong, but they don't have that reference. So what happens to men in Ukraine who are degreed but they can't find jobs, who can't make money, with little hope for the future and no faith in the system or government, what happens to the very good, very well-intended, altruistic men of Ukraine? What would happen to most men in a situation like that? What happens to them is they become disconnected. They become frustrated on a very deep and soulful level. They become despondent. They're not reacting anymore to the environment around them. They're depressed. And if they're not deeply depressed, they're still somewhat depressed because they're disengaged. They don't see a hope. They don't see a future. They don't see opportunity because, unfortunately, they find their future is swallowed up by the immense amount of corruption that goes on in Ukraine. Good men, good young men grow up to become very disconnected. So what do? They engage in a lot of escapist behaviors. They smoke. They drink. They do things that aren't healthy for them. Escapist behaviors, right? One thing I can say for Ukraine that's so interesting in this culture, people in Ukraine, really unlike Americans, our lives in America are very predictable and somewhat stable, and we will let large chunks of time go by without doing much of anything because we're planning for the future, planning to do it next year, planning to do it 3 or 4 years from now. We're always looking ahead because we're reasonably assured that when we do that, what we want to do, the opportunity will always be there for us if we just decide to do it. People in Ukraine live in a very opposite fashion. They live for today. They live for right now. They're not thinking about tomorrow. They're not thinking about next year. They're thinking about today, right now. And I will say that many, many men in Ukraine are living today. I want to live today. I want to feel today. I want to go out, be with my friends, talk, and just exist today. I'm not going to plan because what good does it do? I'm not going to hope for the future because what good does that do? I'm just going to try and enjoy today. And that attitude manifests itself in a lot of behaviors that are just not healthy. So men in Ukraine will frequently smoke, they'll drink, and what do? When you're unhappy and you live in a country the size of Texas with 4 million more women than men, most of whom are very beautiful and available, right? They have relationships. Yeah, anyway, so it's just those escapist behaviors. I'll talk sometimes about how you walk around in Ukraine at night, 12 o'clock at night, and you see groups of Ukrainian men, 12 or 13 or 14 of them, standing around in their Adidas t-shirts and their gold necklaces, drinking and smoking and talking to each other. And you think, man, you guys have the most beautiful women, right? But you're out here at 12 o'clock at night, go home to your women. But again, they're just engaging in living in today, living in the moment, living right now, hanging out with their friends, just finding pleasure today, finding reason to be happy today. And honestly, for people in America whose lives are so predictable that will waste large amounts of time doing nothing, it's quite refreshing and sobering to step into a culture where men behave this way. Men and women, people live very much for today. And I find personally that people in Ukraine maintain their personal relationships, their friendships, much better than people in America do. They'll get together today. They'll call you on the phone today. They'll meet for coffee today. They won't let it wait a month and keep putting something off because they want to exist and feel what they feel today. But of course, they're engaged in many of those escapist behaviors, many of which are harmful and detrimental to relationships. A lot of smoking, a lot of drinking, hanging out late at night, being depressed, having no future. There are many, many great Ukrainian men, many of them. There are men in Ukraine that I admire. There are professors, there are policemen, there are doctors, there are soldiers. There are many fine, strong, brave, masculine, good Ukrainian men. And I love to see them, watch them, and I'm privileged to know them. But the truth is, there are just as many men who are just lost. They're not bad men. They're just lost because they can't see a way into their future. And so they lean very heavily on their mothers for support, and their mothers give them all of their love and all of their life and their support. It's kind of a joke in Ukrainian culture that when a Ukrainian guy gets married, he's not necessarily looking for his wife, he's looking for his next mother because he wore the last one out. But I'll tell you what, Ukrainian moms are incredibly resourceful, they're very good, and they're very, very tough. And when you go to Ukraine and say, hey, I hear all these bad things about Ukrainian men, the women will say, well, hold on, not so fast. You know, I have a brother, I have a son, I have a father, and they're not bad people. It's just that the system is corrupt and it's very difficult for men to succeed. And so here we are. We have a huge disparity in the population of women and men in Ukraine, and we have a lot of men in Ukraine that are just dealing with significant issues that find it difficult to be available and present in relationships. I hope that's not an uncharitable assessment of the social situation in Ukraine. I hope that I did justice for my friends who are men in Ukraine, and I hope that I gave you an accurate idea of what's really going on with men and women in Ukraine. How about it? All right. Guys, you can text me your questions. Green box right above me. Got about 20 minutes or so. I'd be happy to ask you some questions while we are watching some great video footage from some of our recent socials in Ukraine and around the world. As you're watching our social videos, I want you to pay attention especially to how the men and women are talking to each other. Sometimes men are talking to their interpreter. Sometimes men are talking to their girl with the help of an interpreter who's usually right by their side. Just look at the body language, how open it is, the great eye contact, the facial expressions, how happy people are to meet each other, they're laughing. It's an incredibly cool social environment where very, very beautiful women are very easy to engage. Right now we're looking at my friend who has his interpreter to his left, leaning over his shoulder, and he's talking to this pretty girl, and the interpreter, it's one of our great interpreters from Kiev, is translating for him. All right. You have questions? I have the answers, I hope. Guys, my name is Bud. We do this every Monday night, and you should watch us. Okay, John is asking, I wonder if you got the email that I sent you 3 or 4 days ago asking about a girl in Cherkasy I was writing to. John, I'm sorry I did not. Try and send it again, bud@loveme.com, and I'll forward it to the proper people who can help you. Or actually, frankly, if it's a correspondence issue, John, just to make it quick so that you get a quicker response, I would simply send that to Liz, afa@loveme.com. So either Liz or bud@loveme.com, and one of us will definitely direct that where it needs to go, and you'll get an answer right away, okay? I'm sorry you've had some difficulty in reaching us, but come on, man, do it again. Arthur's, okay, we got Arthur's question about the average age of women at our events. Lance says, why don't the listeners book their flights today for an upcoming tour? Like Lance did, took me 2 weeks to realize I needed to fly to Ukraine. Lance, I got to tell you, my brother, it takes most guys a lot longer than that. 2 weeks ain't bad at all. Mike says it was a great seminar in Milwaukee. Thank you, Mike. Nice to have you there, buddy. Mark says, I bought tickets to Odessa. How do I arrange individual tours? Those are those individual travel packages that we offer where guys can travel to our offices, hang out with our staff, and meet women kind of on a one-to-one basis. There's no tour going on. There's no group. There aren't the social events, but you have the full attention of our staff, which is definitely going to get some results for you. Can you meet one woman a day, or are you supposed to meet most of them within the first few days and then decide whom next to meet? You know, all of the above, Mark. Honestly, it's whatever approach you want to take. You can meet as many women as you would like per day, but you realize the longer that you are in a city meeting women, first dates are going to become second dates and third dates. Each date is probably going to get longer, more involved, and more fun. And it doesn't take very long for you to decide, I've got a few people that I just really enjoy spending time with. There's definitely some strong chemistry and attraction going on. So maybe I'm good and I don't need a ton of introductions. Again, here's what you do. In this case, write to our great travel desk. Her name is Anna, A-N-N-A, travel@loveme.com, and say, hey, Anna, I would like to be in Odessa on these dates, and I would like individual introductions like this, or with these specific ladies, and we will get right back to you, quote you a very reasonable price, and get her done. Bob says, who is leading the Ukraine tour in January? Also, who leads the China tours? All right, so I think the Ukraine tour in January is going to be John, our CEO. I believe that's how it's going to be, which is great. You can't do any better than that, guys. Trust me, John's at the top of the food chain. Everybody will be rocking on that tour. So I believe it's John. Who will lead the China tours? You know, we frequently allow our local staff in China. You know, the women in China, guys, they're super, super professional, educated, capable women. These are amazing women. And we usually allow our local staff in China, our phenomenal local staff in Shenzhen, to operate the tours as your tour guides. It's not at all unheard of that one of our senior officers in the company tags along on those China tours. I think there's probably an excellent chance that somebody from our Phoenix office will also be along. But at the very least, we'll have a great staff in China waiting for you. They speak great English. They're wonderful. They've done a bajillion tours, and you will like them, and they will take very, very good care of you when you go to China. Appreciate your questions, guys. Keep them coming. Coffee's kicking in. I got time. I got energy. I want to answer your questions, please. Right? Green box right above me. Stephen, I think the name is. Montreal, Quebec. I'm Vietnamese. Will I have any luck with Latino or Eastern European women? Stephen, yes, you definitely will. I've had other men of Vietnamese heritage go on our tours to Ukraine, to Latin America, and be just fine. If you're a nice guy with good old-fashioned family values and a healthy respect for women in relationships, and you go, you're going to be just fine, my friend, I promise. Chris says, hey, sent you an email about the ski trip a couple of weeks ago. Do you have any idea when this will be offered? Chris, God bless you. Here's the deal. If you like to ski and you like to go on a singles tour, do them both at the same time. That's essentially what we'll do. You can go on our singles tour, for example, in February, in Ukraine, and there's a great ski resort to the western Carpathian area called Bukovel. It's not far from Lviv. It's very beautiful, so I hear, and you can go and ski there. Got to do that sometime. I really do. And you can go there right after the tour. You will meet women on the tour. We can certainly help you to book lift tickets, travel arrangements, whatever it is. Our staff will certainly help you to make those arrangements. You'll probably meet a ton of women in Kiev. We'll be more than happy to go on a ski trip with you out to Bukovel, and we'll put that together. And there will be your ski trip. Organ music rising, please. Mike says, I've used the phone service. They will not allow you to trade information over the phone, as that has to be done by email. Here's what we do. If you want to meet, it really depends on whether or not she signed the IMBRA form, guys, to be on the IMBRA form. It stands for International Marriage Broker Regulation Act, which is a law that was put into place in 2006, which says in the law that every single one of you, 100% of you, every single one of you are inherently dangerous. And because you're inherently dangerous, says our stupid, stupid law, we have to ask you questions about your background and present that information to every single girl that you come in contact with on our site. No exceptions. And the reality is we have very seamless, believe me, very seamless ways. In many cases, you wouldn't even know what's going on, but we have ways to get that information from you, get it in front of the girl girl in a way she's comfortable with. Here's his background information. Here you are. All good. Want to meet him? Cool. Sign here. Bing. There you go. And we have very, very amazing, seamless, quick ways to do that so that neither you nor the girl you want to meet are inconvenienced in any way, but we do have to do it every time. And so I'm not really sure how that impacts the phone situation. I definitely encourage all of you guys who are writing to women for more than a couple of weeks, call them on the phone. Right next to every girl's profile is a box that says call me now. If you click it, you can order a phone translation call and talk to the girl you've been writing to. You can't imagine how many guys I talk to who write to women for months and months and months, believe they're completely in love and have never talked to the girl. That's nuts. Call the girl up and talk to her. It's easy. More and more guys should do this, for goodness sake. So do it. Talk to the girl. If the two of you want to exchange contact information, you can get in touch with us. Talk to our great customer service manager. Her name is Liz. afa@loveme.com is her email address, or call up and ask to talk to her and just say, hey, here's what's going on, how do I do this, and we can give you some great information around that. All right, Mike and others? Okay, cool. Muhammad says, hi, how are you? I'm single, looking for a girl. I'm from Pakistan. Muhammad, great, go on a tour, my brother. Kyron says, are there going to be tours to Changsha? Yes, there are, as soon as I find out where that is. All right, Kyron, I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, the whole entire world is a big, big place. I tell you what, if you think there's a compelling reason to have tours to Changsha, why don't you write to us? Just write to me, bud@loveme.com, and let me know what you like about it, what you think about it. I mean, we're not trying to take over the whole entire world, guys, right? We got a whole bunch of cities in 8 different countries. That is a major undertaking. I'm still trying to get you turkeys to stop watching me on YouTube and go on a tour anywhere. But you know what? If you think Changsha is an exciting place, let us know, my friend. I'm dead serious. We'll certainly talk about it with you. Who knows? Who knows? Carlos, my brother, how are you, my man? How many days are we staying in Kharkov for the November 21st tour? Are we taking the train to go from Kiev to Kharkov and back? I don't think we've decided officially yet, Carlos. It may depend on how many guys we end up with. We got a lot of guys right now, but we're going to have probably twice as many guys, so we'll probably make that decision a little bit closer to the tour. So I'm not sure if we're doing a train or a bus. Definitely, we'll let you know that shortly, though, Carlos, okay? How many days are we staying in Kharkov? I think we're dividing the tour. It'll be about 4 days, 4.5 days, something like that, in each of the 2 cities in the November tour, which starts on Thanksgiving, November 22nd, guys. I'm going to be in Kiev, I'm going to be in Kharkov, 2 big cities, 2 huge socials, probably our 2 largest socials as far as number of women in Ukraine. Although Odessa's definitely, and Nikolaev, giving all that a run for its money. So there's a little bit more we'll develop, Carlos, as we get going, right? But I'm really glad I'm going to see you again, my brother. Does the women that speak fair English are always bringing an interpreter? Let me interpret that question. Okay. I'm having fun with Carlos. The women that speak fair English, are they always bringing an interpreter? They might, and here's why. One of the silly things that we do is we ask the women to self-assess their English. So we will ask the women, do you speak English? And if so, do you speak it poorly, fairly, well, good, excellent, whatever? And we allow the women to self-assess. And there's no barometer, there's no litmus test, there's no assessment. What am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say, right? The women purely decide where they are. There's no test which determines their level of proficiency in English. It's purely up to their own impression of their English abilities. So a woman might say that she speaks fair English. That may mean that she's comfortable in conversation. That may mean that she's not comfortable in conversation, and she may want an interpreter so that the two of you, because it's very important for her to be able to make a good impression on our first date. Let me tell you something right now, guys. We are the ones who are going to Ukraine to meet and find and fall in love with women, right? So we made the decision as men, I'm going to meet women from Ukraine or China or Costa Rica or wherever we're going, Thailand. And it never occurs to us, we're going to learn their language. We're going to learn some part of the language so we can speak some part of the language when we go to their country. But shouldn't it? I mean, shouldn't it to some extent? Shouldn't we put, doesn't that make sense? We're going to go halfway around the world to a great country, meet a lot of women. We're going to find our future wife. I'm not going to learn any of her language. Really? Are we really not doing that? Well, we're not. And believe me, very few of us are, including myself. I've been to Ukraine so many times, been to Russia a bunch of times. I can barely speak Russian. Speak a little bit, mostly about food, because darn, the food is so good over there, man. And, you know, anyway. The point is that the women have just the opposite attitude in Ukraine. The women worry very much how they sound to us, the men coming to their country to court them, how they sound speaking English to us, and they feel worse about themselves not being able to speak English and being understood than they hold us accountable for coming to their country to find love and not being able to speak their language. So in many cases, a woman is envisioning, okay, what if we meet and we like each other and I'm trying to talk to him and he doesn't understand anything that I'm saying? That's going to be stupid and awkward. I'm going to feel really embarrassed. And in many cases, the women are going to choose to bring an interpreter for a date or two so the two of you can talk to each other, get to know each other in a way that's completely relaxed, seamless, and accurate. So yes, Carlos, I think most of the time the women who speak fair English are going to bring an interpreter, which you're going to pay for, so that the two of you can understand each other. And again, guys, we're the men deciding we're going to get on a plane, go meet women, fall in love from another country. We probably should expect to pay for an interpreter at least a little bit of the time. There are some women who speak English, and you definitely will meet them. There are many, many, many more everywhere that we go except the Philippines. There are many, many, many more that do not speak English. And you know what? You're going to meet somebody, you're going to meet a lot of somebodies, and they have exactly what you're here for. They have exactly what you're looking for, exactly what you hope for, and you are exactly what they hope for, but they don't speak English. What are you going to do? You're going to pay for an interpreter, have a good date, and make your love story happen. All right. Great questions, guys. Appreciate them very much. Ryan is asking, what is the Miss Colombia trip like in November? We're going to go to Cartagena, Colombia the week before the Miss Colombia pageant, which is a huge, big deal in Cartagena every year at this time. And so what happens is we go and we do our thing, right? We go and we meet women. We have our own Miss Colombia, I guess, right? We're trying to find Miss Ryan Kane, I guess, in this case. But the idea is we're going to introduce you to a lot of great women. You'll go out on dates, you'll meet somebody. It'll be a wonderful romantic time. Cartagena is a spectacular city in Colombia to go to. It's beautiful. People are amazing. God knows, a lot of very beautiful women for you guys to meet. And then the next week will be the Miss Colombia pageant. Now that is a week-long event that leads right up to the weekend and the crowning of Miss Colombia. People from all over Colombia come to Cartagena, and really tourists from all over the world in South America come to Cartagena. It's incredibly festive all week long. People are out on the streets partying, having fun. It's great. It's just a blast. And so you will have met lots of women during your romance tour. You can get out into the city and meet more people. Maybe you and your girl, or you'll just go out and meet more people, have a tremendous amount of fun, being in a great city that's filled with really happy, very festive people. And hey, let's face it, guys, Miss Colombia is legit, man, right? Miss Colombia is always, one of the final contestants for Miss Universe every single year, it seems. All right. Guys, great questions. I hope you enjoyed the topic tonight. What's really up with Ukrainian men? Many, many fine Ukrainian men, many fine Chinese men. There are fine men everywhere we go. Don't believe the stereotypes. Stereotypes are tainted. There's a little bit of truth to some extent about the challenges that men in Ukraine face. But now you know the real deal, right? It's the system. It's the world around them that frustrates them, that disconnects them from a future that's bright and productive, and they just suffer so much from it. And it's really hard for them to be happy in relationships, and there aren't enough of them. There are 4 million more women than men to begin with, so lots and lots of challenges facing those very, very beautiful women in Ukraine, whom you will meet if you get up and get on the tour later this month, or in November, or in January, February. We'll take you to Ukraine and introduce you to some great women, believe me, who will be incredibly happy to meet you. Rick says, how's it going tonight? Will your prices remain the same next year? I'll tell you what, Rick, all of you can go to loveme.com and look at our 2019 tour schedule. It's up right now. The Asian schedule is up, the Latin schedule, and the European/Ukrainian schedules are all up. So you can see all the tours that we're going to do next year, all of those great options. Somewhere on that tour schedule is a city you're going to go to, my friend. And in that city you're going to go to, somewhere, I promise you, is your future. How about it? Check it out at loveme.com. On the right menu, guys, you'll see Latin tour dates, Asian tour dates, European tour dates. Okay, cool. Jake's going to Chernobyl. All right, Jake. Don't watch Chernobyl Diaries before you go. Are we required to pay an additional fee at the socials? If you're part of the tour, you definitely are not. If you're not part of the tour, every social around the world is $450 to attend. I'm assuming you're part of the tour, Jake. So additional fees, gratuities. If you feel like tipping your interpreter, you can. If you buy a drink from the bar, you can tip the bartender or the wait staff if you'd like to. We always serve champagne, soft drinks, juices, water, that kind of thing. But if you want anything more than that, some guys want to drink a certain beer. Some guys like a certain kind of cocktail, or you're buying a cocktail for somebody else or something like that. So if you purchase stuff from the open bar on our social in Kiev or in Dnipro, or wherever you're going on our tour, you'll just tip the people accordingly like you do here in the States. Other than that, your interpreter, who's going to be your buddy, your partner with you the whole entire social, is definitely, we're paying for that. That's part of your tour package. So if she does a great job for you, and I'm sure she will, and you feel like giving a little tip, paying for a taxi ride home, something like that, you can certainly do that. That's about it. How about that? Guys, we have a lot to offer you. You know that? I'm not kidding, man. I mean, who else does these seminars coast to coast? Who else is doing that? Who cares enough about you to do that? Everybody's a love coach. Everybody's a dating coach. Everybody wants to challenge your manhood, tell you need to man up, show you how to do it, right? Everybody wants to do that. You know what? You don't need any of that. What you need is to believe in yourself and get up and do something about the emptiness in your life. That's all you need. Get up, go. Certainly, everybody's got a little bit of information that they can offer to be helpful. And when you do our tours, God knows we're going to give you a ton of it, just to make sure you're prepared for the experience that you're stepping into. But we're out here for you every Monday night. We're coast to coast in these seminars. We're taking you abroad, right? Well, who does that? We're getting you on a plane and going with you to make sure that you have a good experience getting out in front of these women. Look at that video you're looking at right now. That's interesting. Mark's talking to this blonde and she's kind of shaking her shoulders at him. Great video. You can put yourself right in that video. You can meet these women. You can be in that environment easily. You book the tour, you get your airfare, and let's go, and we'll meet you there. We escort you around the world so that you can get out in front of these really great ladies in an incredibly comfortable, believe me, classy, and integrity-driven environment so that you're comfortable, you're represented well, you're at a party that looks great so the women are happy to come to it and meet you. There's no awkwardness. You're having a blast. It is the truly greatest social environment a single guy can step into, meeting all of these incredibly beautiful, very, very conversational, friendly, engaging women who are lonely and alone and want to meet you. And we're doing that because we care about you, want you to meet somebody. We're very, very passionate about what we do. Got a few more minutes for questions, guys. You can ask them. And then I got to talk to my guys going to Ukraine this week. So I'll be out of here in a few minutes, but got a few minutes for you guys. Let's have it. Boaz is saying, Boaz, what a name, man. That's awesome. I plan to travel on the Ukraine tour within 2 to 3 years, and I'd like to learn their language. Do you feel that learning Russian would be sufficient? If your choice is to learn Russian or Ukrainian, if you do either of those, you're going to completely amaze the women in Ukraine when you go. I'd probably myself learn Russian. Russian is widely spoken in the parts of Ukraine that we go to. And you never know. You never know. You might find yourself in another part of the world that speaks Russian. You might go to Russia someday. You might end up somewhere where they speak Russian. I mean, the interesting thing about the countries that are part of the former Soviet Union, they all have their national language, and in many cases Russian was also spoken when they were part of the former Soviet Union, and it still is spoken in many, many areas. You can just do a Google search for countries where Russian is spoken, and you'll be surprised at what comes up sometimes, right? But again, Russian's just a little bit more universal than Ukraine, and if you're going to learn one or the other, I'd probably just learn Russian for that reason, because you never know, right, boys? But good for you, man. If you got 2 to 3 years before you're ready to travel and you know that and you want to invest that time in getting ready, dude, get out, get as fit as you can possibly get, learn Russian, be looking good, have that language, as much of it as you can. Look, man, in the next 3 years, if you learn 30 phrases, which anybody can do, that'll be more than most people who go to Ukraine do, and the women will be really happy and impressed that you took the time to learn their language, to speak to them natively. Here's the other thing, guys. If you really want to hear the women who speak fair English, speak English, learn some Russian or Ukrainian and speak it to them. And you will murder some words completely, believe me. And what will happen is the women will compliment you. They'll understand, okay, this guy's not afraid to sound a little silly here and there. He's cool. I can do the same. So that English that I've got tucked away in my brain that I really want to say, but I'm afraid I'll mess it up, they'll say it. And before you know it, as you get more comfortable with each other on those successive dates, more and more of that English that they know will come out. And at some point, you're going to be like, wait a minute, you speak more English than you said you did. You're actually pretty good. But it really is that she just got comfortable with you because you also learned a few phrases. Now, if you go on our tour, one of the things we're going to do during orientation is we're going to give you a bunch of simple phrases that you can say. Everybody can say, Очень приятно. Очень приятно. When you meet somebody, очень приятно. Very nice to meet you, more or less. Anybody can say, спасибо. Спасибо, thank you, right? They also understand thank you, by the way. All right, guys. Great questions tonight. Thank you for them. I hope you appreciate the topic that we did tonight. Santiago says, hey, getting a lot of introduction letters in my AFA mailbox from ladies. Have they seen my profile and decided to contact me? In most cases, Santiago, I would say yes, they did, and that's why they're contacting you. In some cases, agencies are working for these women. I say it all the time, man. I was a headhunter for years in the Chicago area, and I had people, and I would tell them when they came to me, listen, look, you're an IT person, and I have direct contact with vice presidents of specific companies in the Chicago area. If they want to meet you, would you like me to forward your application to them? And they'd say, sure. And I didn't need to have a three-way conversation going in order to do that. And I promise you that some of the agencies that aren't going to wait around for 3 or 4 days to reach the girl, you know, read your profile, they're going to get on it right away. As soon as they see you've set something up, you're out here, you want to meet somebody, and they think you're serious, they're going to send you this girl's profile, get it out in front of you, her intro letter, whatever, just so that you see it right away before you get buried in the women that you're going to be writing to. And in many cases, that's just a hardworking agency trying to represent you really, really well, making sure you're getting what you want, so you're not sitting around with an empty profile that's not getting any response. And you can respond to those intro letters, Santiago. The women sometimes are writing them with their agencies. Sometimes the agencies are sending them on behalf of the women. That's definitely true. I think a great path, I really do, I think a great method of corresponding with women on our site is just go use the search engine. I don't think a lot of guys are doing that so much anymore because it's all right in front of you so conveniently when you set up your profile. Go use the search engine. Go find the women that really match what you're looking for and start writing to them. And you'll get good responses. Great, Santiago. Thanks for your question. One more question, guys. Here we go. Just a tip for those who are interested. Yes, it's true, Scott. Duolingo offers a free app for learning Russian or Ukrainian. Duolingo, another website I know that's out there, MEMRISE, Memrise. They'll also help you to learn a lot of Russian phrases. I think it's about $10 a month. You can take all the Russian lessons you want. You can't beat that, right? So, yeah. All right, guys, look, we have a great tour coming up this week in Kiev. We have another tour starting next week in Odessa. If you get on it, I can get you in the video you were just watching. In Odessa, at the social, at Nikolaev, you're going to meet incredibly beautiful women. They're going to be right in front of you, and you're going to be interacting with them just like these guys are. We can make that happen. In November, we're doing Kiev, and we're doing Kharkov, 2 great cities, 2 of the largest socials that we do all year long, and you can do that as well. Don't sit here and watch what we do forever. Guys do that, and that's great. I'm glad we're out here for you. That's why we're here. But guys, let's not make a lifetime out of it. Come on, let's go. Get up and go get your girl. There's so many women that want to meet you, so let's do it, all right? All right, I got to go talk to my peeps going to Ukraine this week. You guys have a great week, and we'll be back next week. In fact, next week we're going to talk about, I think, some of the real differences between women from Ukraine and women from Colombia, women from our Asian destinations. How are they similar? How are they different? We'll do that next Monday night, all right? Bud at loveme.com if you need anything else. Talk to you soon. Kirk, thanks as always, man.